What is up, my friends? Today I'm going to be talking about LinkedIn and how to turn that platform into a cash dispensing ATM machine for your business. Now, if you are a coach, a consultant, a course creator, a content creator, or some other form of digital entrepreneur, I want you to pay close attention here. I know what you're thinking. Isn't that the job and career site? Well, I totally understand that. That's what it was for a long time, but now it is a great opportunity for you to go out there, create amazing connections and collaborations, and create additional income for your business. So about 3 years ago, I got really active on the platform and I was able to create a 6-figure side hustle that can be ran in less than 5 hours per week. It has been an amazing opportunity, and it's also given me so much more than just that. So I'll dive into that in this video. I'll also share with you how the algorithm works, why LinkedIn is the place to be, and why it's superior to other platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. And at the very end, I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to give you an awesome framework for creating content that will allow you to attract the right people to you so that you don't have to be all needy and chasing people in the DMs like so many other platforms. We're going to teach you how to set yourself apart. Before I dive in though, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be talking about mindset, motivation, and money for the driven entrepreneur, and you're going to want to pay attention to some of the content that I'm going to be putting out. So back in 2020, we all remember the COVID pandemic. Everybody was hit so hard with that, me included. Now, I've been in sales and healthcare for a long time, and I thought I was in a pretty safe industry, but hospitals got shut down for 3 months, and that put a major crimp into my income and my pipeline. I didn't know if I'd have a job after very much longer of that. So I had to have a backup plan, and the thing that I wanted to do was to start mindset coaching. I love mindset, and it's one of my biggest passions, and I had wanted to start finding some clients on social media, and everybody was talking about Instagram and Facebook and how they grew these big massive followings on those platforms, but I was finding that I had a real difficult time growing on those platforms. Not only that, a lot of the gurus would talk about like stalking people and then getting them into the DMs and then trying to get on a call with them and like stick the knife in the wound and find their pain points and then try to sell them on a high ticket coaching package, and that just did not feel very aligned to me. At the same time, I kept hearing Gary Vee, he's the godfather of social media, talk about LinkedIn. And I found a quote on his blog that really stood out to me. And this is what turned me onto the LinkedIn platform. I'm going to read it for you. He said, "I think LinkedIn has crossed the chasm into Facebook territory where you can literally do anything. Like if you sell puppies, ice cream, or candles, or t-shirts, or if you have a club, you can have a LinkedIn presence. Same if you're a financial advisor, a lawyer, or if you're trying to sell concrete to a B2B executive. I genuinely believe that all can play." So once I heard that quote, it really got me thinking about LinkedIn, and I found an article written by some of the top sales and B2B experts on LinkedIn, and they were sharing their best practices about how they grew. I connected with all those people, and I reached out to them and sent them some messages and let them know what I took away from their articles. Then I went all in on LinkedIn. I started learning more about the algorithm, and then things started taking off from there. I got my first inbound coaching client within 1 month, and then 2 months later, I had about 3 or 4 more additional clients. They all found me just because I was putting out content that attracted the right tribe to me. Now, the reason why I love LinkedIn compared to so many other platforms is people are there to grow, and they're willing to spend money, they're willing to invest in themselves, and it has a much more professional vibe. I kind of got like this icky feeling from Instagram because it's very entertainment based, and a lot of people are just kind of dinking around on there looking for things to entertain them, whereas on LinkedIn people are having really good professional conversations. So I felt like that was a great platform to grow on. Not only that, but Facebook and Instagram have been around for a long time now, and all the organic growth is pretty much sat from those platforms, and it's pay to play. So that means you have to pay for advertising if you really want to grow your reach. A lot of times if you have 5,000 followers and you put up a post, it's only going to go out to a fraction of the people that are following you. Whereas on LinkedIn, when I'm posting, every time I do this, and I post probably 3 to 5 times per week, I'm getting between 2,000 to 6,000 views. Sometimes a lot more than that. One of my best posts did 1.25 million views. So what I'm going to do is next, I'm going to share with you how the algorithm works, and then I'm going to show you how to create content that attracts the right tribe to find you. One of my favorite things about LinkedIn is it is very, very flexible with content creators, and it gives you so many different ways to create content around the topics that you love. A few examples of this is you can do text posts, you can do photos with text, you can do videos, you can do carousels, you can do polls, you can do articles, you can do a live event, you can even do like a Clubhouse style audio event. And so it really gives you a lot of flexibility to create content around the topics that you know and love. Now, here's the thing is I get a lot of questions about the algorithm. That's something that so many people want to know about the algorithm and how it works. And there's actually some groups out there that do a lot of A/B testing. They're literally putting out thousands and thousands of posts, doing a ton of split testing to see what works well with the algorithm. Here's the thing though, is I'm going to give you a hack to the algorithm that makes it so much more simple than getting all geeked out on all this tech stuff. Okay, so here's what you need to know about the algorithm is it wants to find good content and connect it with the right people. So it's all about quality. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about LinkedIn is you don't have to try to game the system. You just have to understand 4 basic principles that I'm going to share with you right now when it comes to the algorithm. Okay, here's the first thing is the algorithm wants to know that you are speaking to a very specific audience, meaning do you have a niche? Do you have a group of people that you focus on? For me, I love focusing on course creators, solopreneurs, content creators, and coaches. That is my niche. That is my audience. Those are my tribe. And the algorithm understands this because it looks at my content. It also looks at my profile page and my headline and my experience. And from that, it can determine who it is that I am trying to focus on. They say a jack of all trades is a master of none. And they also say the riches are in the niches. So go with those guidelines and really make sure that you are speaking to a clear audience and not trying to talk to everybody. Now, the second thing that the algorithm is looking for is they want to see that your content is actually adding value. So there's a lot of content creators that put out a lot of junky posts that are just like, shooting the shit or water cooler talk, so to speak. Now, in your content, LinkedIn loves it if you are adding value, if you are sharing your insights about the industry that you serve, and if you're sharing insights that directly speak to that niche that I was talking about. Okay, number 3, the third thing you need to know about LinkedIn is they're looking for meaningful engagement. So what I mean by that is not just like people dropping a like or a thumbs up or saying great post. They're looking for conversation. So if you create a post that has really good content where people are starting to have an actual conversation, as those comments start to grow, LinkedIn can tell if it's good content. And if there's some good conversation around it, if you're asking good questions or asking people to share their insights on a certain topic. Let me give you an example. So for me, this is kind of a polarizing topic is school. How relevant is school? I like to post about how school is becoming obsolete. And what that does is it creates a little polarity, okay? It creates a lot of conversation because everybody wants to share their insights on that topic. And as they do that, the comments start to grow and LinkedIn's algorithm says, oh, this is a very exciting post and we've got to share this with a wider audience. Now, the fourth thing is taking a stand. So I kind of talked about that, right? I'm not trying to cater to everybody or a very wide audience, but when it comes to the topics, I'm also kind of niching down on that, right? I'm taking a stand, and I'll give you an example. So in sales, a lot of people feel like the more outreach you do, the more presentations you'll get and the more deals that you'll close. Now, they call that sales is a number game. I don't believe that. I don't believe that the more phone calls you make, the more deals are going to happen unless you're a very novice sales rep. I believe in being highly tactical and strategic. And so that's a topic where I can create a little bit of polarization where I can take a stand on the topic and share what I believe. Now, that's kind of cool because that feeds back into some of the previous pillars that I gave you, right? When you take a stand, what that does is it creates more comments, more back and forth discussion. So the algorithm starts to spread that post out a little bit further. But also I'm talking to a very clear niche. In that instance, I might be talking to salespeople and I might be sharing value in that post as well. So those are the 4 things that the algorithm is looking for that will help you get more reach with your posts. Okay, thank you so much for sticking around till this part because this is where things get fun. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to create content in a cool way so that you don't have to be all needy and chasing people in the DMs. This content strategy is going to start getting people attracted to you. They're going to start finding you in the feed. Now that you understand how the algorithm works, I'm going to give you a 3-step framework for creating content. You can do this in whatever form you feel like. In fact, I actually did that with this video, so I can give you an example of how this is broken down. But this 3-step process, what I call it is hook, story, call to action. And it's basically 3 parts. Okay, if you don't know what a hook is, okay, this is a great thing for me to learn. I found out what a hook was 3 years ago. I didn't understand what it was before that, but a hook is basically something that catches your attention in a post, or maybe it's an email subject line. If you're on YouTube right now, then whatever caught your attention to watch this video, that could have been the title or the thumbnail, but that's basically the hook. And you've got to be able to capture people's attention with the hook. The reason being is people are on 6 different social media platforms. They're seeing so much content at once. So you've got to have a very strong opening line in your post that grabs people's attention. And what happens is if somebody is scrolling on a phone and they see your post and you've got a good hook, they're going to put their thumb on it and stop it. Now, when your thumb does that, it signals the algorithm. The algorithm is like, oh, they stopped on this post, so it must be something interesting. And then you have to click see more so you can read what's inside of the post. As soon as you do that, the algorithm is like, okay, this is interesting. This is a sign that this post is interesting to this person. And that's what helps it get more reach, combined with the stuff that I told you about the algorithm. Now, the second part to that is what I call the story, okay? Now, here's something that's going to happen more and more, especially now that people are using AI and ChatGPT to help them with content. People will go onto an AI app and they're like, okay, help me create a post with 6 tips around sales or whatever. And then they copy and paste it and put it up. The problem with that is you have so much content coming online now that general stuff like that just really isn't very exciting anymore. It actually blends in. So when I say story, I want you to be sharing value, just like I talked about when I was telling you about the algorithm and the 4 things that it's looking for, okay? Share value. And typically that looks like tips or whatever, or lessons. But weave it into a story. And I'll give you an example. So in leadership, okay, here leadership is huge on LinkedIn, but it's pretty boring because all these leaders are just sharing the same old stuff about how leadership, you got to have a good culture. You've got to lead with empathy and use active listening. But none of these people are creating content, sharing their actual stories of how they applied that, right? So you want to have a strong hook, and then that goes into the story where you're sharing an experience, where you saved an employee. He was about to quit. And then you were able to revive his engagement by active listening and using empathy, right? So you're teaching the lesson within a story of an experience that you've actually had. Okay, this is so much more powerful. It creates emotion and buy-in. People get to see your authority, and it's just such a great way to connect with other people by sharing a story. Again, you're still adding value, but you're tying it into one of your personal experiences. Okay, the last part of the post should be a call to action. Now, most people think of a call to action as like book a call with me. Yes, that's a call to action, but you could also say, hey, what is one thing that happened to you? Share it in the comments, right? Or grab my free lead magnet that's located in my featured section. Send me a DM and let me know what your biggest takeaway with this post is. Or send me a DM and let me know if you've ever experienced a pain point around this topic, okay? So there's lots of different calls to action. You can tell them to go to your profile page and follow you. So again, here's the 3-step framework for creating content. Have a strong hook. Number 2, share value, but do it in a story format, sharing one of your experiences, your personal experiences. That is what makes you unique and not like sounding like everybody else. Okay, the third part of that is make sure you have a strong call to action. Tell them exactly what you want them to do. Now, if you think about this video, okay, I kind of did that, right? There was a hook that drew your attention to watch this video, right? I used LinkedIn to turn it into a cash dispensing ATM machine. It helped me create a 6-figure side hustle in less than 5 hours per week. Okay, that's the hook right there. Okay, the story, I talked about how COVID hit really hard and my business was completely shaken. And so I kept hearing about Gary Vee talk about LinkedIn. And so I started researching the platform and learning about it. That's the story. And the call to action was hang on so I can tell you about the algorithm. So at the end of this, I can give you a really cool content strategy so that people can find you. And that's the most important thing is like, I don't want you doing like the stalker thing where you're on social media, just like, DMing people and, having these really awkward conversations, pitching your stuff. On LinkedIn, they actually call that the pitch slap. Okay. People hate that. They hate being connected with. And the first thing that comes out is a DM with them pitching their offer. Okay. You don't need to do that. If you get really good with content, it's going to draw the right people to you. This is where branding comes into effect. And, if you know your niche, if you have an area of focus, like you're talking about sales or marketing, digital marketing, course creation, mindset, whatever it is, people get to know you. And that's a really good way to attract them into your following. And then you can move them to your email list and then sell them on whatever you want without having to chase people in the DMs. If you pay attention to my content, I will talk about this so often, the strategy of creating content, then moving them to your email list and then converting them into sales in a very non-salesy way. So make sure that you follow this. Make sure you follow me here on YouTube because I'm going to be sharing more and more content around different ways to do this strategy. Now, here's your call to action. I actually have something really cool in the description of this video. I created a longer version of this. It's called 11 Ways to Monetize LinkedIn, and you can grab access to it right now. It's a 6-episode private podcast, meaning you can listen to this on the go. Okay. Once you get access, you can drop this into your favorite podcast player and listen to 6 different lessons about LinkedIn, where I go deeper into the story and different ways that I've monetized LinkedIn. I want you to thrive. I want you to create a new or another source of income, but use LinkedIn to do that. Okay. There's other benefits too, because I was able to grow my podcast using LinkedIn as well. It is a beautiful platform. Not to mention, you're going to meet some really cool people, really good professionals, and it's a great way for me to avoid all the politics and negativity of other platforms. LinkedIn is my number one favorite business platform. All right, my friends, that's it. I will see you on the next video.